Okay, so then we move on to targets and decision makers. So we want to be thinking about both primary targets, that is people who have the power to give us what we want, and the secondary targets, people who can put pressure on those primary targets. So I mentioned this earlier, but just to say it again, a primary target is always a specific individual, and the secondary target is someone who has influence over that primary target. And another tool that can be used to think about this is known as a power map. So it really analyzes the relationships between players and kind of it's just a helpful tool in thinking about where you need to move particular actors. And you'll want to put these three different categories of individuals on your power map. So that being decision makers, so that's the people who actually have the power to give you what you want. And then you have your kind of organized allies who are folks you're working with and supporting your agenda, and then your organized opposition. And so this is the power map, and essentially what you will do is plot out all the key players on this map. You'll see on the x-axis you have the position of the individuals, whether they are for or against or somewhere in the middle. And then on the y-axis you have like how much power they have, not in general, but on this specific issue. So, and ultimately what you want to be doing is moving people who are who have power but are against your position, to moving them basically from this top right part of the power map to the top left. And it's really identifying who is in that top right or top center part of the map, and in working out how to get them to cross to the left. That's ultimately the objective here. Once again, it's not particularly complicated, but it is an important exercise in doing this especially with allies, in agreeing upon who are the key individuals that need to be influenced here. So if this is something you want to continue doing, if you want to keep developing out a campaign example, you could pause the recording again and go ahead and build out a power map of your own. So you'll list out these three different categories of individuals, and then you will draw lines between the different individuals to indicate what relationships exist between them, and you'll write down those relationships, and that'll get you thinking about who the secondary targets are. So who are those people who don't have the power to make the decision, but have some influence over people who do. The next category is constituencies or stakeholders. And here you'll really be asking questions about, who cares about the issue enough to join and help, to be part of your coalition, be a part of the problem you're trying to solve. So a number of, important questions to consider in doing this. And then equally as important is understanding who your opponents are, and what they care about, and where is it going to be costly for them. And that's ultimately going to determine the tactics you use as well. So once again, if you wanted to build out kind of a detailed strategy chart on your hypothetical or real campaign, really here's the steps that you would be taking. So listing out all your possible allies, um, who's neutral in this issue. So who currently doesn't have a position, but you could influence them to take your position, and that's really an important consideration. And then who are your key opponents? Listing that all out, and then from there, really considering some messaging that you want to bring, especially to these neutral folks.